All right, let's get this party started. I don't know how long I'll be on, but I wanted to jump on, kind of continue working on this because I hate getting just like such a small amount of something done and not being able to really give it some of that love that it deserves. Okay, so especially since we're leaving him with his leg in the air like that, I mean that's just uncomfortable for him, man. You gotta give the guy a leg down. Right now he's got a leg up. Gotta give him a leg down now. Anyway, so we'll go ahead and we'll start kind of working on this. I want to finish posing out this leg before I go ahead and start working on the other leg. That way I have a bit of a kind of a benchmark for what it is that I want to achieve with it. Pardon me. Yeah, should be pretty good. Okay, let's do this. I am going to take. Okay, this whole knee pad thing. I'm going to do this thing separate because that's going to be. It's not even lined up in the right spot. Control A. Just kind of take this and just kind of move it down a little bit so that it's lined up more where it's supposed to be. How's the other one? Okay, so it goes past that loop. Okay. So we will probably go ahead and move, like, we'll worry about the knee pad after we worry about the actual pose of the leg, because we're going to have to worry about fixing it quite a bit if we worry about it first or worry about it in the same time. This way I can go through and I can I can probably actually use deformers outside of what's it called? Outside of this stuff here. Transpose master. Looks like we're losing some volume here. So we're just going to kind of pull this together a little bit, pull the pocket in. This pocket is something that I'm going to need to fix probably outside of outside of this tool because of just because of like the way that it's connected and things like that. I need to make sure that this is bunching up properly, and I don't know. I feel like it's going to be easier to control the pocket outside of the whatchamadiggits. Okay, take that. And this is going to be my main piece. And I think the thing I'm trying to decide is if I want this knee to be sharp or if I want it to be rounded. And I think I want it to be pretty sharp. Okay. Let's do this. So we're going to take this, and we're just going to put this so that the leg is in the position that I want, and then this this edge loop right here is my, that's going to be my apex. That's going to be the middle point for this transition. So I want to make sure that this is creating the shape that I want. Okay, which means this is going to have to extend out. This is going to have to come back a little bit. Pull that in some. Okay, and then invert it. And we'll just kind of make sure that we have just the pants visible right now. And this is where the true fun begins. We need to start kind of easing out some of these points. We got to give it a little bit of a squash here because of the way that the anatomy is kind of pushing up against itself. Okay, so we'll do something like this. And then right here, all these points need to even out so that it gets a little bit more predictable of a deformation, of a transition. So I'm going to use one of the most amazing tools known to ZBrush kind, the transpose line. Oops. You know, it's nice. I love the transpose line. It's something that I feel like is underutilized. It's not useful in every scenario, but it certainly is like super underutilized. So yeah, definitely recommend going through and playing around with it, because one of the things that it can do, I'm just using the move tool, but I'm able to use this and kind of branch it out, or use it to kind of just push my shapes around. Let's go ahead and push this a little bit. Now when we take this back into the high resolution mesh, you'll see that it gets quite a bit of it gets really interesting the way that it's there we go. That's what I wanted. Take this and let's kind of push it up. Vengo a ver cómo posas el personaje porque a mí me da horrible. Es un proceso y es importante tener paciencia, pero sí, te entiendo perfectamente. Ups. Estamos un poquito más. Yeah, transpose line, super helpful. It's funny, on my Instagram stories, I totally messed up in letting people know when I'd be streaming for Pixelogic. I mean, I streamed earlier this morning, but I guess I had put in the evening time rather than the morning time, and so so anybody who wanted to watch my stream and who was dependent on my Instagram story information, they're going to be a little disappointed. Although hopefully not too bad. Give it a little bit of a bend. Perfecto, ahí quedamos. Okay, this foot, that's going to be really kind of tricky to work with. Let's see. Let's go ahead and we'll soften it that way first. Okay, there will be some cleanup of things that I'll have to go through and fix, like here in the laces most likely, and then back here on this piece and things like that. Pieces like this though, I want to make sure that this stays nice and solid. Okay, because it's made out of metal, so you know anything that's supposed to be solid, I want it to be I want it to be perfectly yeah, I want it to stay the same solid shape that it is. So yeah, that's something that we'll be aware of and be careful of. Okay, here's what we're gonna do, because this isn't quite what I'm hoping to get pose wise out of this. So let's go ahead, let's take this. Let's see. Let's grab that leg. We'll grab the knee pad, the pockets. We'll grab the shoe. And then one of the things I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to rotate this quite a bit more, and then kind of move it up into the chest a bit. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to move this up. That looks better. It's even got the foot nice and flat on the ground now, so that's that's nice. It needs to be adjusted a little bit, but you know, it's not too bad. Okay. So you can see like the way that it gets a little bit tweaked, a little bit weird. Let's take this shape and kind of adjust it so that it fits the laces a bit better. Invert that, move it so that it fits the shape. It's working so far. It's working. Move topological and just kind of pull that pant leg in. It's kind of coming through the boot a little bit. Here, actually, let's do something like this. Just give it a little bit of a bend there so that it feels like it's being pushed by the pant leg a little bit. Helps to give it a little bit more of a feeling of, you know, things interacting and all of that. There we go. And then this piece in the back, oops. Take this, kind of push it in some. Needs to go in is where it needs to go, not out. Okay. There we go. Let's take these pieces, make sure that they're lining up nicely. These pieces will need to be adjusted and kind of straightened out and fixed and whatnot. And it may be something that I go through and fix once I get into the other, into the high poly version, because that's going to be, it's going to give me all the benefits of working with polygroups and things like that that I can't do here. But we'll see. I hope I'm not missing any messages. I can't tell. My restream is not telling me if anybody's chatting or not, so except for the one message that I got from Alehan. So hopefully, you know, hopefully I get all your chat and all your messages. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to totally, you know, chat. But you don't have to if you don't want to. I'm just gonna be working, chugging away. I need to adjust this. The shape needs to be much more streamlined here, so I'm just gonna, like, I'm not even caring about the about the hard surface shapes here at the moment. I'll kind of fix them a little bit manually, but this is something that I need to make sure that the shape of the foot is correct. Otherwise, it's not going to be as appealing. Come in here. Just inflate this a little bit. What's today? Friday? Today's Friday. Wow. I'm learning read topology these days. I'm having trouble place the poles correctly. Well, I mean, if you're interested in learning about poles and things like that, read topology in specific, I have a full character modeling course that goes into the details about topology theory and how to where to place those sorts of topological landmarks, things like that. And information for that course is over down in that far right corner. Yeah, it's a great course. It's really fun, and it's got a Discord community attached to it, things like that. There's always streams, but in the streams you can only do so much. I don't have it in Spanish yet, just in case you're curious. It'll take me a while to get that translated into Spanish. But it's still useful, and I should be able to get the Spanish version up hopefully within the next couple of months. Have to find the time first. I teach all that stuff, the full production pipeline. So everything starting from the concept sculpt. I talk about character design. I talk about choosing a good concept. I talk about things to look at when you're looking at a concept. Yeah, all sorts of things like that. And there we go. That's looking pretty good. This area right here is a little bit weird, but we'll fix that. But yeah, because I feel like the production pipeline is very important, and it's not something that a lot of people spend time to talk about. So I try my live streams to work with clean topology as much as possible, mostly because that's what's interesting to me. That's what's useful to me, especially being an artist in the entertainment industry. There aren't always a ton of opportunities to just messy sculpt and be silly and goof off and come up with something that's pretty but not functional. And so, I try to always work with like clean topology and share that process so that people can benefit from it. So we got that. Got a little bit of like these folds coming up, and that's kind of just a little bit too much. Let's invert that. so there's one leg. Should have grabbed some water while I was on break. Let me see. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hide the vest. Now let's get those parts hidden. And then I want to take the body. I want to give it some bend. Hey Ryu, how you doing? Let's go through. We'll hide that. We will unmask all this upper stuff. Bring back the character's body. And then we'll just kind of bend them forward. Yes, I am going to keep the glasses. The glasses were kind of an interesting idea. Just something kind of silly. But I really wanted to push, since the theme is light age space opera. It feels super just interesting and on character and appealing to me. So yeah, I'm trying to go through and kind of work that all out. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna take this section of the leg, and I'm actually going to bend it down so that it's a little bit more flat on the top of the leg. That'll be fun. Let's grab the head. I'm gonna hide the head. Actually, I'm gonna hide the collar too, because that's kind of a bit much to deal with. Go ahead and bring those. And then we'll bring the actually let's bring the collar back too. Okay. Or maybe not quite yet. Let's place our pivot point first. That looks pretty good. Just trying to fiddle around and figure out what makes sense. Let's do this. We're going to move this arm down. And this is going to be a time where I'm going to have to kind of do it and then go back and make some fixes to the vest. See, I want that to stay kind of still. see like the way that it's kind of caving in right here. It's a tricky, like arms and legs, like these are like the hardest area of the body to work with, because you have to think about how solid the area around these body parts are. And then in working with the clothing around this area, it gets to be kind of tricky too, but it's fun, you know. Try to do it like just a little adjustment at a time. It makes it really helpful. I missed a lot of lives too early here in France. I had that one live that I did early morning for you the other day. But it was pretty late in the evening for me. Comment vas-tu? Bien? That vest is going to get squashed in there, but I need it to. Okay, this area down here. Okay, let's just work with the torso for right now, since it's all messed up. What I might do is I might go ahead and take my character's body over into the, like, you know, transfer the pose, save, and then keep working. That's one of those workflow things that's really helpful to me. Okay, so there's a little bit of that pose. I'm just gonna go ahead and grab this arm right here. Just kind of move it like, oh, that's a little bit off where I want the pivot being. Okay, that's a little better. Just kind of move it like that and like that. Okay, let's take the pant and the boot. And actually, let's take this bottom boot and we'll just mask that out. For this, I want to, oh, let's mask this out too. No, let's not. Okay, I'm just going to take this this knee, turn off dynamic, turn up my focal shift quite a bit, and then I'm just going to kind of lower that down. It's not a very precise action to do this, but it's one of those things that's going um, to help him to feel a little bit more intentionally posed. Yeah, I get a lot of questions about Z-sphere rigs. I hate them. It's not something that I enjoy working with. So it's really just kind of a process thing for me. You know, I enjoy being able to think through it like this. I feel like I get too much warping and too much of a, you know, like I lose control using the Z-sphere rigs. So it's, I don't know. And granted, I probably haven't played around with it enough to really be able to make a solid comparison. But yeah, the my limited experience with them has not been fun. So so I much prefer doing it more like this. Dabbing, no. You goofa. How you doing, Quentin? I missed you, brother. Oh shoot, I thought I had my select lasso. Go ahead and grab that. Go ahead and grab that. Grab that. You can't type today. I hate it when that happens. Happens to me all the time, by the way. So, you know, we can make a club. Let's invert that and kind of push this up. All right. Okay, I'm thinking for this leg. How did you hide the loop on the leg? So the way that I do that is like with the select lasso. So you have to select rectangle and you have to select lasso. Select rectangle is going to be your default. But if you use select rectangle, Control Shift tap on an edge, it's going to hide that whole loop. I use that a ton. So yeah, stick around. You'll see me use it like a ton more. So there's kind of that for now, which is going to work a bit for a minute. Oh, actually, let's take it, instead of having it be straight on like that, I'm going to kind of pull it off to the side some. Pull it to the side, pull it up a little bit. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and we'll hide that. Control A, let's bring everything back. And like I said, like with the knee pad, I'm going to be doing the knee pads after I finish posing them, taking them back. So that's kind of the thing that I'm waiting on. That's the thing I'm aiming for. Okay. Pull it out to the side just for silhouette purposes. having that foot go like, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like that'll work better. and then this arm's going to be down, kind of like hanging over his leg, and he'll have like some sort of fruit, some sort of apple or something like that in his hand that he's eating. I thought about doing a sandwich, but I don't know now. Let's see if I can get this. Okay, there's one. There's two. Okay. I'm going to take this, rotate it. Okay. So now we've got that middle loop placed. Now we can go ahead and start having fun. Apples are healthier. Oh yeah, to be able to continue hiding loops, to grow that selection, so to shrink it, so essentially you're hiding more of the mesh, you can hit Control-Shift-S, and that will shrink visible, or you could hit Control-Shift-X to grow the selection. Okay, so it's a really handy tool. It's really handy. It's another one that I use all the time, actually. Let's do this. Okay, and then I'll use my handy dandy transpose line. We'll just kind of pull that around. Kind of ease out the shapes in here a little bit. I want that knee to be sharp, but I don't want it to be, you know, like a razor. The Razor Crest is gone. I actually really like that ship. It's probably one of my favorite Star Wars ships. Okay, it's question of the day. Favorite Star Wars ship. Noise. Let's kind of bend that out a little bit so that it gets a little bit more of that evening out. I'll just kind of soften out the flow here. Pull it up some. Sounds like the contention juices might be flowing downstairs. Okay, let me see. I want to get this up a little bit higher because, like, you can see where the foot is. You can see there's like a decent amount of gap right there. So there's the ground, and you know, that's where it's coming to. So, you know, you think about that. There's that much of a difference between X-Wing. Yeah, the original X-Wing is super good. Really cool ships. I quite like the Naboo Starcraft as well. The I liked Amidala's Transport, the silver one. Super cool, like sleek shapes. The Falcon is still probably one of my favorites. I mean, that's like, I'd live on the Falcon if if I could. that up. This foot is going to get some crazy deformation to it once we go through and start adding in some of these, some of the bends and whatnot. So just as a heads up. Oh no, I gotta go through and fix that area because that's all messed up now. Shoot. Okay, let's go through, do that. Kind of smooth it just a little bit. Hey, gorgeous. Hey, Bubba. I'm just gonna kind of pull this up for right now. I'll probably block in some actual folds later, but for now I just kind of want to make sure that this is in the position that I want it in. It's going pretty well so far. Let's kind of adjust where these points come to, because they're going a little bit too far back. Not a ton, but you know, just a little bit. Yeah, that's one of the tricky things, is like going through and getting the smoothing to work as much as you need it, and then, you know, just having to go through and just tidy it up. I mean, there's still like a lot of these areas that I still need to super clean up, but it's coming along. Just kind of like softly smooth it in through here. Not a ton, but enough to be able to see kind of what it is that we're working with. Okay, this needs to kind of come tuck in a little bit over here. Some of these areas are going to be a little bit trickier than others to clean up and to get the nice, you know, correct shapes through here, but I'm confident we can get it. I'm going to hide the legs. So that I have less blocking my view. I can see a little bit better this way. Okay. I am not sure where this came from. but it must have been intentional. Well, not intentional, but I mean it must have been something that happened because of something that I did that was intentional. Shift X just to kind of bring that back without bringing back the legs. If I'm doing this in the wrong direction, it should be easy enough for me to just go through and fix it when I get out of the transpose master tool. So that's starting to work. The pink's kind of distracting to me. So I'm just going to switch to my startup material and get this really going. Smooth that out a little bit. Better. Okay, so now I want to come in here. Let's grab that. We'll grab these pieces because I want them to be solid. Okay. Something like that for right now. Move it down into position a little bit better. And then we'll take, actually probably don't want to soften that. Let's just try it without softening it. And let's soften it once. Let's get this kind of rotated into place here. How do you snap your cursor to the edge direction? That is a great question. let me show you in just a second, because I'm sure I'll need it here in just a moment. Not that I think I'd forget what I was working on, but okay, so the way that you go through and kind of snap it, so you can just kind of hold Alt and click to be able to make it to snap to a specific place. But if you hold Alt, click, and then drag, you can have it snap and align to different points on your mesh. It's insanely helpful, and then it'll align to the normal too. So it's awesome. It's such a nice little feature. I love it. Okay, I'm gonna take that one down. I'm gonna take this one up, and then that one's probably a good spot. See what different meshes do I have here. Let's raise this one up, because this is the surface one. Let's grab this. We'll move this forward some. Really dig into this and get this working for us. I gotta figure out where my laces are going. So we'll go ahead and we'll just fix the shoes before we get into too much of trying to figure out the laces and everything. That way we know how things are working. We know how things are supposed to be, you know, whatever. Did I use curve brush for the laces? I did. I did indeed. I used a special, used a curve simple that I made. It's just cubes. That kind of extrudes out, and it's super nice. It's really simple. I actually have it as one of my. Maybe I haven't actually put it up as one of my downloads for Patreon yet. But maybe I will this month. Yeah, because it's a super simple brush, but I needed something that has good, clean, pure topology that I can just use on a whim to be able to create something clean. And there are so many other curve brushes, even like the standard curve brush that you get with ZBrush. Like the topology is great for if you're trying to do something that you don't need to worry about adding in edge loops that go longwise. But if you're doing something that if I needed to add support edges that come right along here to kind of support, make it a blockier shape, I can do that because now I've got these. This is what these look like. I mean, it's just pure cube, so it's really nice. But yeah. Take that, kind of sit it right in there. Something like that for right now. The tongue of the shoe in there is going to have to be super fixed, but we'll get there. Oops. Bring this in. I'm going to have to do some sort of change here because I mean all my loops right here are just way too close together, and I could totally just fake it, kind of just pull this in and just have it disappear and not even explain it. It's one of those things that will never be noticed or seen, so it's yeah, it could be worthwhile to just kind of minimize my details a little bit here. In fact, you know what? I'm going to do it so nobody's even really going to know what happened except for you guys that are here today. Because this is how we roll. That's just kind of how things go. Let me see. Okay, so this one's supposed to come out on top. This one's supposed to come beneath it. Same thing, I'm just going to kind of shove these things kind of back into the back and just let them be where they are, but not let them be anything more than just, you know, a little bit of a detail here that you may or may not actually even notice. Put that here. And go ahead, oops. Kind of put this shoelace into its place. Let's start pulling this out. And we're going to go ahead and without looking at the rest of the shoe, I'm just going to try to fix this flow-wise, shape-wise. That should hopefully make it a little bit easier to deal with when I bring it back to here, so that way I can see where it's supposed to be. So similar sort of idea. I need to bring this boot down just a little bit further. As you see, like we've got the shoe here. We've got that little bit of ground kind of between. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this leg. Let's go ahead. Oh shoot. Right, let's kind of soften that. Okay. Let's bring the shoe, unmask it, and then from this knee, okay, I'm going to come and I'm going to, you know what, that's a little bit too far out. I'm going to bring this out to about right here, something like that. Oh shoot. There's a big difference in height here. Let's go ahead and see if we can kind of fix our height issues here. Move infinite depth. Okay, that's better. Okay, so now I just want to take let's do this. Grab this boot. Grab this. Okay. And then from this point on the knee, just to be able to keep, come on. Just to be able to keep an eye for consistency, it's going to grab from here. Hold shift and drag out. And then just drag down until that feels like it's fitting. Okay. Okay, we got the hardest parts done. Yes. 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 All right. So one of the things I'll go through and do now is I'm just going to take the ends of the scarf here and make them feel like they're hanging. Let's go ahead and turn on the gizmo. kind of rotate it down. Nice and easy. Just trying to make sure that these feel like they're hanging. And in fact, it could be cool, and I might do this after I've gone through, finished posing everything out. It could be cool if I were to go through and give a little bit of air movement, because I feel like that would help to boost the appeal of the scene. So we'll have to go through and think about that. I'm going to take this this vest. I'm just going to reposition it a little bit so that it fits the character's pose a little bit better. Just kind of move that forward a little bit. Twist it. Let's pull out our move brush. Okay, now there's some places like over here around the shoulder. I'm going to have to move that in quite a bit. So we're gonna have to move that in some. And this shoulder is going to have to kind of rotate a little bit so that it fits around the shoulder of of the character a little bit better. And I guess same thing for this other side as well, but I mean we're not going to get to that quite yet. In fact, let's just leave this the way that it is for right now. And let's start posing this other arm. Unmask that glove. And I don't have anything for him to hold yet. So we're just going to give him what we can, do what we can with the pose, and then let's do this. Invert that mask. Start fixing this the way that the chest is kind of caving in here. Just kind of smooth it out and then fix it. One of the things that you got to keep your mind on is that just taking it through Transpose Master is not enough. You're going to have fixes that you need to make after you're done with the posing. Once you take it back into the high poly side, you'll notice things that you just couldn't notice working in pure low poly like this. But this is insanely helpful for getting everything to feel like it's going in the right direction. Perfect. So we'll just do that. We'll bring the shoulder down. We'll maybe twist it a little bit. Something like that maybe. since he's not super muscular. Smooth that out some. Bring these shoulders in, the back in a little bit, just so that you can feel kind of the weight of the pose. You know, his arms moving forward, his arms resting on his, or it will be resting on his knee. Okay, let's see. Let's go ahead and do something like this. Kind of pose it. Oh no. Just to make sure that I do have everything masked that I want. Yeah, there we go. Now we should be all right. Let's go ahead and kind of pose that arm just a little bit. You know what? This shoulder probably ought to be brought back just a little bit. Let's do something like that. I'm gonna need to clean this up quite a bit. In order to make it feel like it was properly posed. See. Oops. Oh shoot. Oh shoot. The glove. The glove. Oh shoot. Look at that. All that work. All that work. Okay, let's do it again. Losing a lot of volume right here. It's picking up too much volume in other places. Alright. Animo. Yeah. Yup. Yeah, I mean sometimes those terrible things happen and you just gotta, just be enthusiastic and just push forward. It's just kind of part of the process. I mean, those sorts of things happen all the time. Unfortunately. Let's go ahead and grab the vest. Oh shoot, for real? Oops. Come on, you. Push and pull this into place here. Let's go ahead and see if we can get this to fit that arm a little bit. Make it so that it feels like it's being pushed in by the arm resting on it. So we've got that. It's looking pretty cool. Okay, now this side needs to be reworked. Let's go ahead and kind of shrink this a little bit so that we don't bother the other side quite as much. Get some overlap in the pieces here, and that kind of helps to make it more interesting, is when the pieces kind of overlap. That's one of the things with like clothing. You want clothing that has overlapping pieces because it really helps push the appeal of the character as a whole. In fact, I had been thinking about whether or not I'd add some sort of shirt. But so far I haven't given him one, so not sure if I will or not. Question for you. In se ve perro. ¿Y qué quiere decir eso? Can you work on multiple projects, like have two files open and switch between them? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I won't do it quite at this moment, but yes, you can do that and work on, like, sometimes I'll be working on the character and I'll have the prop open as well. Oh, chido. Okay. Padre. Sí, es que mi mexicano no es muy mexicano. buff out that vest just a little bit right there. Give it a little bit more volume. Make it nice. You know what? I'm going to go ahead. Let's do this bit of the arm right here. Mi público latino va en aumento. Ya, es interesante, sí, ver que cada vez que hago los live stream, veo más gente latina que la vez anterior. Y pues a mí me encanta el español. Yo creo que si todo el mundo hablara el español, sería el mundo más, pues, un mundo mejor. Habría más paz, más tranquilidad, más amor, mucho, 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 mucho amor. Pero sí. Es interesante ver las manos ahí cerca de los pies, a ver como el cambio de tamaño y todo eso. Shoo. Ay, ay, ay. Más cumbia. La voz no me deja hacer grito. La voz está un poquito floja. What color is the sky? Ay, mi amor, ay, mi amor. Make me un poco loco, un poquitito loco. A ver, voy a querer un poquito de esto, voy a cambiar, hacerle de esto. Ay, 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 ay. Let's give it a little bit of movement here. I think I'm just gonna plan on having some wind, some air movement. I feel like that's just a good idea. Makes it less still, less boring. Let's give it a little bit of like an S curve kind of coming down through here. Gives it a little bit more interest, maybe. Hurtfully. I'm gonna have to go in and super play with this because this has gotten really adjusted. I've done all this posing and I haven't saved any of it. So what I'm going to do is, instead of continuing to work like a fool, I'm going to go ahead, depose the sub T, and, well, What just happened? What just happened? Please select a T-pose mesh. I am in a freaking T-pose mesh. What? Did I just lose? Like, no. What? Oh no. Yeah, I don't know. There's even a way for me to be able to fix that. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to change the name to match, and I'm going to say T-pose to sub T. No! No! So what's the difference between this name and this name? Rename. Maybe we'll take out the T-pose. I'm at a loss. That's 4 freaking hours wasted. Totally, completely gone. I am at a loss. I am at a freaking loss. What the heck, ZBrush? Dang it. I just lost 4 hours of work because the pose that I'd been working on, when I tried to transfer it back, it wouldn't transfer it. It wouldn't transfer it at all. And so now I have this, which is, I'm just going to call it pose sketch. Or I should have said 01B or something like that. I guess that's what I'll do. Yeah, let's get rid of this. compose 01B, or I'll put sketch just so that it's reference. Oh my gosh, I am floored. I am absolutely, oh my gosh. Okay. 4 freaking hours. Four freaking hours. Okay, I'm going to say don't save. And then we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to start over from scratch, just all in all. WTF, ZBrush. Yep. Dang it. I'm so like overwhelmingly frustrated at how that just happened like that. I am floored. You know what? I don't know that I even want to go through and try posing him again because I'm frustrated now. I don't even want to look at him anymore. I'm just like, let's do something else. Let's work on the vehicle. Dang it. Okay, so we've got this basket that I want to start building. Let's start building the basket. Control Shift D, rename it basket. Go to initialize, hit Q cube. I'm going to close pure ref because I don't need it right now. I might go through and pull it back up and kind of work on it or whatever, but for right now, I cannot even, I just can't. I am so, say delete hidden. Okay, let's say, let's go through, we'll say insert, oh, in fact, let's say keep polygroup. Okay. I'm going to say crease PG. See, it's giving me a nice kind of crisp edge there. So let's go ahead and we will say Control D. And then these corners, it always drives me nuts that this happens. We can take those corners, and bring them back up so that they are level with the other edges. There we go. Something like that. Okay. I am going to go ahead and say, yeah, let's say delete lower. so this should be something that's good enough for what I think I want to do. Okay, so this is going to be the main body of this basket back here. It's going to be a wicker basket. So what I want to do is, I'm just going to kind of refresh that out. I don't want to see that other character for the for right now. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to say clone, and I'm going to call this wicker. How do you spell wicker? That's right, right? Wicker. We'll call it weave. Weave 01. Because this is how we do. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say initialize is right there. In the Y resolution, I'm going to say, yeah, we'll say 4. That works. And then we'll say 1 in the Y, 1 in the Z, cube. Control W, just so that it's the whole same thing, you know. We'll say delete single poly. We'll delete the top, delete the bottom. Make sure that that's all centered. Make sure that's set into home, and then we'll say bend curve. Change the orientation here. Change the curviness there and make it symmetrical. So this way I can do something like this. Actually, here's something that's interesting. Let's try. Okay, I've got an idea. Because I do want it to be symmetrical. So here's what we're going to do. If it'll bring back, there we go. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to take this piece, I'm going to say extrude single poly. That's great. We'll do that. We'll do that. Okay. And then I'm going to say collapse edge down here like that. Up there, like that. And then these points, I want to say stitch to midpoint. Okay, so now with this, what do I need to do? Take these, kind of move them like that. Yeah, you know what? I'm overthinking this like way too much. So this needs to go. I'm gonna do something a little bit heavier. Let's go ahead and let's go up to like 6. Oh, come on. 6. Control W. And then I want two pieces. And then we'll say Control Shift D, center it, rotate it 90 degrees. Get rid of the end pieces. Get rid of the end pieces. And really, like, these are still too tall, but we're gonna have to kind of play with it. Let me see. So that one's going to go, so that means that one's going to go too. Okay. Use the multi-tool like that. So now I've got these two pieces here, and they're still like way too wide. So I need to take the end pieces and kind of shrink them in so that they're much tighter. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say Control Shift M, okay. And I'm going to say, let's grab these two pieces, Control Shift A, Control W. Grab that, 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 and that. Let me see. Something like that. Something like that. So then when I go ahead and hit my smooth, it's going to give me this sort of, you know, woven piece look here. What I do want to have though, going to take these, kind of shrink them down so that they're fitting in the middle of the segment. That'll help the shape to be a little bit nicer. Okay, so let's say real quick, I'm going to say crease PG, so that way the edges don't go anywhere when I smooth. And I'm going to say Control D, just once. Hit delete lower. We'll say uncrease all. Okay, so now this is our basic piece. Okay, this is going to be one piece of our weave. Okay, I'm going to say Control Shift D. We'll say solo. And then I'm going to say masking, mask by, yeah, mask that right there, okay. And then I'm going to say, let's say surface, noise, make the noise scale like really big, make it really kind of subtle, say okay, say I guess, edit. Let's say turn off the color blend. Okay, apply to mesh. That was not strong enough. Apply to mesh. That's better. Okay, so now Control Shift D. Okay, so now we're on our third piece. Actually, we might just call that the third piece. Then we'll just go ahead and undo that. We'll come over here to Surface, say Edit, and then we'll say, there should be like offsets. There we go. We'll say Apply to Mesh. Control Shift D, so that way that's that one. Okay, undo, edit. Let's get it like with a different offset. Apply to mesh, Control Shift D. Control Z, edit. Offset something different. Apply to mesh, and we'll call that good. Okay, so we have 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and they're all just slightly different, but that should help give us some cool variation with the with the shapes. So what I'm going to do, let's go ahead and we'll say masking, mask the features, noise, make that noise scale pretty big, make the strength, you know, big enough, whatever. Apply to mesh. Okay. I'm just going to kind of go through and kind of, you know, vary these manually now. We got some somewhat automatic sort of variation through the application of noise, but now I just want to go through and kind of add some extra variation. Something like that, and we'll just leave 5 alone. But I do want to make sure that all of these are unmasked, because if you leave them masked when you go ahead and you create the micro poly, it'll remember that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to each of these pieces now. I'm going to go down to deformation. I'm going to say unify. Okay, so you can see what that looks like now. Unify, go down, unify, go down, unify, go down, unify. Okay, next thing I want to do, underneath geometry size, I want to make sure that the x size equals 2. Look at that. I want to make sure that the z size equals 2 and that the y size equals 2. So that way it's an even square. Okay, which I'm on 5. Okay, so let's go up. Same thing. 2, enter, 2, oh, sorry, not 1, 2, enter. 2, enter, 2, enter. accidentally hit my up arrow before I was ready. Okay, so that's one. I gotta watch the Y size and the Z size. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so all of them have the right. And in fact, maybe we'll take the X, make it 1.5, so that way we know that it's the exact same. Maybe not. Maybe not, because here's the thing, is that like the variation is because of the noise, but we had the edges masked, so we know that that's matching up. The reason why all of this is important, I know it feels like I'm kind of rambling, but we need these edges, these borders, to match up. Ooh, it's not quite matching up. You know, what if I were to just say 1? Yeah, I don't know. That's not going to work. This might work. I mean, it's not absolutely perfect, but this might still work. Okay, let's give it a shot. Let's give it a shot and see. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this basket and I am going to say dynamic subdivisions. We're going to turn dynamic on. Let's take the creasing and let's actually turn the creasing down to like 1. Okay, and then dynamic subdivisions down to 2, because that might even be like too much, but we'll see. In fact, let's take it down to 1. You know what? Let's not take it down at all. Let's just leave it at 0. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so we've got this. Now we've got to turn on the micropoly. If we hold Alt and click on it, is it Alt? No, it's Shift. Control. It was Control. Like I knew it was in there somewhere. Okay, let's go ahead and say. Yeah, I've got to go through and fix the alignment of this piece. These pieces are, since they're upright. Okay. So now I've got 2 and 2 there, which is great. All right, that'll be better. Okay, so now let's go back into the dynamic. Hold Shift, hit micropoly. Now let's turn this off first. Oh, sorry, Control, not Shift. Yeah, so you can see the way that this is working or not working. There we go. So there's kind of a weave going on there. And you can definitely tell it's not quite working. What I got? Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna come over here to. Here's a better idea. Here's a better idea. Instead of going through, here, let's say delete other. Okay. Instead of saying delete other, what we're going to do is we're going to say geometry. Actually, let's say first thing first. Let's go deformation, hit unify, and we'll go ahead and take this and spin it. Okay, that looks good. And then we'll check our, not our position, our size. Make sure that the X is 2 and that the Z is also 2. Okay, now this should work in theory, right? It should work. Oh, you know what? I wonder. No, it should be fine. It should work. This should work. This is going to work, guys. Okay, let's come back into the Horschmedigic. What am I going into? The dynamic control. Let's see. Let's turn this off first. Control. Get the weave. Get the right orientation here. And it actually looks good now. Okay, so now that we have this, this is so much nicer. Actually somewhat usable. It looks like we're having some issues down here along the bottom. Drives me nuts that that's happening. But something like this should be just fine. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We are going to say apply, or we can go ahead and we can say, you know, just like add a level of resolution, which actually might be good. Might be a good thing for us. Yeah, let's do it. We'll say apply. And I'll use my standard brush, and we'll just kind of play with some of these. Yeah, let's do it like this. Let's say surface, noise, like what we did with the other pieces. But now it's going to be a little bit better because I wish I could make this frame bigger because it's hard to see. Okay, so we're going to say we'll say mask by noise. And then I'm going to say deformation, I'll say inflate. It's definitely reading like a little bit too... Oh, look at that. It's definitely reading like too dense now. I think that having like less density to it's a little bit better. So let's do this. We'll say accept. Turn on the micropoly again. And you can see it's adding a ton of interesting detail, but I don't really want that. So we'll do this. We'll go ahead and turn on the dynamic and actually make it so that it's actually smoothing it out some, which is cool. Okay, and then same thing. I'm going to go through, I'm actually going to add a subdivision level. And then let's say surface noise. Boost that scale quite a bit. Give the strength quite a bit of a push. Apply to mesh. And you see that's giving it a ton of this detail here. It's varying it up. You can also say mask by noise. And we could use our inflate brush. Oops, too much. It feels like, okay, so here's what I'm noticing. If I were to go through and just use it like this, it feels like it's too small and too fussy. I think I need it to be bigger. Let's boost it up like that. Do something like this. Apply to mesh. Wow, it's too much. something like that is starting to feel a little bit better. It's masked by noise, we'll say. Deformation, inflate. I'm just gonna kind of do like a general smoothing, but like just light. Oh, that's like a lot stronger than I thought it was going to be. Okay, that's better. Okay, so there's kind of like the start for our little basket. Now that it's actually doing what I'm hoping it would do. I'm going to use deformers to kind of play with the shape a little bit. I'm going to say taper, multiple subdivision levels, delete lower, dame taper. Okay, something like that. There it is. Go ahead and push this in here. Maybe just kind of squash it or something. Okay. Just gonna do this like asymmetrically. Like I'm not even worried about trying to get part of it symmetrical or anything. I'm just trying to go in here and control it bit by bit, all by hand. I feel like that'll help with the organic look of it. Let's see, let's kind of push this in over here. Something like this going on. All right. So there's part of that, right? I do want a lid, and I'm not going to go through and make like another lid. I think that what I'm going to do instead, excuse me. I'm going to take this, Control-Shift-D, deformation mirror in the Y direction, and then we'll just bring it down. Okay. It's kind of interesting being able to see the different, like the weave because of the color of the pieces. Although at the edges, this is where we get some problems where it's like it's not quite connecting, but we also get You know, like the blue meeting up with the yellow. It's just kind of interesting that way. Okay, so here's what we're going to do to be able to make this lid. I'm going to come through here and I'm going to say, skip this note until next restart. Say delete island great grandpa. Oh, up until here. All right. Let's go ahead and say something to the effect of here's what we're going to do. We're going to say masking, because I want to make sure that I'm getting the same amount of topology around the edges down here, and that I don't get anything up here. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to say masking. I'm going to say mask by border. Okay, so mask by feature here. I'm going to have Control Alt and just deselect anything that's up here, so that way I don't have any risk of actually accidentally masking what's up top. Let's invert it. Invert it again, Control W, and now I've got these pieces that I can go ahead and hide, Control Shift S, until it gets to the point where I want to get rid of it. Open the last pose you worked, export to OBJ, then open the main pose, go to transpose, master T-pose. That's a good idea. That is a really good idea. Et voila. I'm going to try that. Let's actually try that right now, because that's a really, really good idea. And if it works, then you will be the individual responsible for saving Christmas. Geometry, modify topology, delete hidden, because like that's the process that I go through for doing my UVs. So I mean, it makes sense that it would work. Okay, let me see. Let me kind of place this roughly first. Basket lid. This way it's got like this lid kind of going around it. Helps it to feel very complete and very organic. I'm going to have to kind of rearrange this piece right here. Let's go ahead and select it. I want to have these two pieces move. So I'm going to put that up there like that. I'm not sure like exactly what I'm going to do to fill in this area down here, but I got some ideas in the works. I want to do like a lunchbox and things like that, whatever. I'll have to kind of play with that idea in my spare time. Okay. Let's kind of bulge out the top as if the lid's kind of jammed on there, and there's something kind of changing the shape of it. Kind of smooth that out a little bit. Well, it's starting to look like something. That's good. I need to go through and add the straps kind of going over the top and things like that. But yeah, let's go ahead and save this. And we're going to try that. We are going to try that. So let's see. Load tool. Guy pose 1. Okay. So let's do this. Transpose master, T-pose mesh. Si c'est bon. Okay, and then you said to, let's see, let's get the sketch. Okay, let's rename this. T-pose 1 guy, pose 01. Okay. We're going to come down, export group. Let's export that. Wait, so export the one that's posed or export the one that is not posed? One of the hard things about that is that it gets rid of your it gets rid of the polygroups. Is it gonna work? Oh, c'est très magnifique. C'est incroyable. Oi, 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 oi. Oh, look at that. Look. Ooh, it's so, that's so great. It's so stupid that that works, but I'm so glad it does. You know, it's like, j'ai gagné. Okay, look at that. Man. Thank you so much. Because of you, I just got 4 hours of my life back. That never happens. Save. So much better. But I still don't want to look at this guy. He left a bad taste in my mouth. It's like, it's like good grief. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I can't believe that that was even a thing. That is. But But now the good news is we're that much closer. Let me see. I gotta go to, let me switch the eyes. Man. Holy freaking crap. Eye. Did it keep the PGS? What does the PGS refer to? Oh, the UVs? Hopefully. It should have. Let me see, texture map. Yep, kept the UVs. Yes. Oh, polygroups. Yeah, it kept all the polygroups. So the place where it didn't keep the polygroups was here, where we imported it. But apparently that didn't matter. So that's nice. It's kind of interesting. I'm curious now if I would be able to go through, do this process, take it into T-pose, and then take that T-pose over into Maya, do quick rig, pose it, bring it, like import it back over top of the old one inside of the T-pose here, and then essentially take that and replace. I don't know. Like I'm curious now. Like, how much flexibility do I have with this now that we've figured that out? It's like, holy cow. So far, the pose is working out for me with with how I want. I do want to go through and kind of rework that the head pose just a little bit. I want to tilt his head up more, and I want to make his. Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's do this, and then I want to make his eyes like looking further down. Man, I cannot tell you how much of a relief that was. It's like, oh. So now I'm trying to think what could be the story behind this. What is he tracking? I'm trying to decide. Now this could be kind of interesting. I'm trying to decide if I want it to be like he's tracking a creature. And so like he's looking down, he's kind of feeling fingering the paw prints or the footprints or whatever of these creatures in the ground. or if he's trying to, you know, if, like, he's a bounty hunter and he's like trying to, or maybe some guy stole his girlfriend and so he's trying to and so he's trying to find her, and so he could see like the footprints of, you know, the his girlfriend's shoes with whoever took her or whatever took her, and so he's trying to track that down, or I don't know. So I'm trying to figure out the story behind that. Let me see. Today is Friday. Okay, good. It's like, is it gonna work? It needs to work. I need it to work. Okay, so that's going down really like a lot further than I think I need it to. Let me see. Not a big deal though. Let's go ahead and pull this in. Just going to kind of rotate this arm, pull it up so that the wrist feels like it's more resting on the thigh. Something like that. Okay, and the other thing I wanted to do was angle the head a little bit more downward. Okay, so let's go ahead and get rid of these other things that are just kind of in the way. Okay, let's get that. Unmask that, bring everything back. No, I wanted to angle it upward. Oh, but I forgot the glasses. I need the glasses. Yeah, I'm going to need that. I'm going to need the glasses. Otherwise, I'm going to lose the glasses. Okay, let's try this again. Go. In fact, I can tell that's the ground level, so maybe the first thing that I'll do is I'll pull this up. Here we are. Go. Okay, now we'll go ahead and we'll adjust the arm and stuff like we had done. Okay, there we go, something like that. For now, similar idea, getting the head. Let's grab all those pieces. Let's go in here, let's just kind of, oops, just kind of play. Get a little bit more of this movement to these pieces here. Kind of funny is like I'm not used to working on these pieces in such a way that it can that you know, like the one piece can influence the other, like moving one piece can influence the other pieces around it. It's been a couple of months since I've used the transpose master, but it is my preferred method for posing characters. And so it's just, I don't know, I'm just kind of at a bit of a loss. That happens sometimes. Cool. Not transform, Z plugin. I am so grateful to you for going through and having the exact right suggestion for me to be able to fix that. That was a huge help. Such a simple solve. So perfectly handled. Okay, I don't know how that happened, but I am going to need to fix that. I will try to fix you. Just giving something back. Well, you giving something back was like huge for me, so thank you so much. I owe you. I totally owe you. want to give like, I don't know. I was thinking about doing it before, but I'm just kind of unsure. I was gonna go ahead and give it like these brass knuckles sort of things on his on that piece on the knuckles. But then I was like, yeah, no, you know what? And I thought about it too much. But you know, I still have to do UVs, so I don't know. It'll be kind of a matter of what I feel like I want. Let's go ahead and push that eye down. Oh, come on. Now it feels like he's really engaged with that ground. Okay. One of the things I want to add is the ground plane. Oh my goodness. And then I want to start adding in I don't know. I might not be able to think about like what the story is behind it yet. Like what it is that he's tracking. But doesn't have layers, does it? No, it doesn't have layers. Lots going on. I'm thinking about giving him a tattoo too, but not entirely sure yet. I feel like giving him some sort of tattoo or some sort of markings. I feel like there needs to be a purpose and it needs to be driven. I mean, it could even be something natural, something that is just part of. You know, maybe he's not actually human. Maybe he's just you know, some other species of some sort of alien, spacefaring species. That's just quite humanoid. So it's just kind of an interesting thing. Gotta think about those things and consider it. Let's go ahead and mask this so that I know I'm not screwing up the stomach area, since that's close enough to this spot that it's like it would be affected if my brush is too big. That's better. Save it. Oh man. Let's say append sphere 3D. Let's say apple. Let's turn on our not samples, the AccuCurve, just to be able to get that in there. Brush. Okay, AccuCurve is off, so that's great. So that should just allow me to just push and pull this thing. I'm gonna go through and kind of pull out some interesting planes here, maybe. Looks like apples can get these interesting plane changes throughout them. Something like that, and that's looking pretty cool. Just keeping it simple. Do something like that. There we go. Nice little apple. And then I've got something I'm going to do with this. I'm going to go ahead and take, I've got to duplicate it, but let's take it, let's make it kind of desaturated. Yeah, something like that. That feels cool. MRGB, color, fill object. That's a big apple. I do want it to be, big enough that we can tell what it is. This hand, I kind of want it to, I don't know, I'm trying to debate whether I want it to be kind of like hanging there like that, so he's kind of hanging onto that apple, kind of like that. Oh, this is a better shape to act out an apple. Kind of just hanging there and whatever. Or if I want to have it be kind of think I want to turn his hand over. That's what I'm going to do. That is what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to save this because I feel like I'm getting a little bit sticky right now. Like something's not quite working right. Okay. Something on the back of my neck kind of just hurts. All right, let's see. He's definitely starting to feel much more appealing now that he's more in pose. He feels like he's much more like in character. He feels like there's something more to him than just you know, and just T-pose. Let's throw him back over into the T-pose master. Now I'm not doing anything to the face, so I'm not going to worry about turning on the glasses this time. Though it's never a bad idea to, you know, keep something on while you're adjusting things. Okay, so I'm going to take the arm, soften, unmask that, unmask that, and now we should be good. What we're gonna do. We're gonna go through, mask up here, bring everything back, repose, get our mask lasso. We're gonna go through over here. Let's soften this out once here. And in fact, maybe we'll just take the glove as a whole, and we'll just unmask that. I think that I can go through and fix the glove better than I can, you know, pose it and try to make it work right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this, we're going to soften that, bring everything back. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this. I want to twist it kind of like how I would have it if I were eating it, because the way that I would do it is I like to kind of grip the top and the bottom at the same time. So we're gonna do something like oops. Something like that. Make sure that it's not going through the hand. Something like that. Oops. I was like, what's going on? Like, oh, wrong brush. Very wrong brush. See, come over here. Let's go ahead and mask everything. I'm going to make these fingers kind of more curvy. So I feel like that's kind of a fun aesthetic that I wanted to explore for this one. That going on. That's looking good. Okay. I'm going to take this hand. Mask out that little section right there. Unmask this for kicks and giggles. Okay. Same thing with this part of the glove. Oh, no te da hambre. I actually took a little bit of a break between between streams. Yo pasé a la cocina para comer algo entre live streams. Pero sí, me da hambre. Yo quiero comer ahorita mismo. Pero ya está bien. Pues sí y no. Am, Generalmente a ella, pues a ella le gustan los platos típicos de Nicaragua, pero es muy rara vez que lo preparamos pues para la cena o cualquier ocasión. Am, Sobre todo como si hace algo típico de Nicaragua, será gallo pinto o frijoles con arroz. Am, ¿Sabes? Ahí estamos. Ok, that's better. Am, pero sí. am, de vez en cuando yo preparo algo que se llama bajo y pues es un platillo con plátano, con carne, con hoja plátano, con cebolla, con chayote, con yuca. Es uno de mis platillos preferidos. Es muy riquísimo. Y pues no es algo muy típico de Nicaragua porque es medio caro preparar. Am, pues por lo que entiendo yo, ¿verdad? Am, Así que no es algo que mis suegros preparan mucho, pero sí es algo que disfrutamos ah, de entre los días de los días feriados y todo eso. Ah, Ahí estamos. Yeah. But yeah, I love good Hispanic food. Nacatamales are awesome. Oh, ahorita son 20 para las 2 de la tarde. Buena hora para almorzar. Yo almuerzo con ZBrush. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, it gets tricky sometimes. But it's fun. It's a good little puzzle. Posing things with gloves, though, good grief. A lot of times when I make gloves for a character, I'll actually sometimes model the gloves after I've posed the character. just so that it's already posed and I don't have to worry about the extra trouble. Go ahead and take this, rotate that up. The thumb really is quite an amazing little body part. So much that it can do, and it's so much movement, and it's incredible. I'm grateful to have a couple of them hanging around, you know. So far I've got one hand posed. That's a funny looking chocolate bar. Indeed. Once de la noche. Te dimos hambre. Let's see, Mike, what time is it for you guys right now? Are you guys almost at 11 o'clock too? You guys are like 9 hours ahead of us, right? Yes, I think like all up through there, Spain and 9:45. So you're like an hour ahead of where everybody else is here. Man. Or I guess no, you're 2 hours behind where everybody else is here. Sorry. Anyway, brains, they're stupid. Okay. So these knee pads, I'm going to have to fix those, but let's go ahead and let's watch that hand go. It'll just kind of like pop into the right place. What's going to go first, the apple or the hand? Oh, hand, and then glove or apple? Glove or apple? Glove or apple? Glove or apple? Oh, the suspense is killing me. I think the apple's going to be last. Yeah, okay, there goes the glove. So the apple's going to be last. No, I haven't taken the bite out of the apple yet. But I need to because he's got the big old chunk of stuff in his cheek. It's so satisfying to see a character come together like this. I love this. Okay, save. Save that bad boy. let's do this. So I'm going to go through and I am going to make the bite out of the apple. Okay, I'm going to do this with polygroups for right now so we can have our main apple to go back to. I love how autosave always jumps in right as I'm trying to do something. Apúrate, ZBrush! This is turning out pretty much exactly the way that I was hoping it would too. So that's a relief. I do still need to give him whiskers though. He needs like a couple little chin whiskers, I think, because that would be funny, you know? Anyway, so let's see. I'm going to say Control-Shift-D. We'll just keep that as the original with the mask so that we can keep track of it. With the apple, I'm going to call this apple peel. And then I want, for the apple peel, we're going to say polygroups, group masked, we're going to turn up polished. So that way it gives us this nice edge here. Okay, and then we're going to say geometry, delete hidden. Let's say Z-remesher. We'll see how nice of an apple we get out of this. Not great. Not great at all. Okay, let me see. Let's take this down to like 1,000. Let's do regular. That's not terrible. Some little spots to smooth out, but really that's not bad. That's not bad. I'll keep that. Okay, so there's the peel. Smooth it out. Looks just fine. That's great. We'll take it. We'll take it. And then what I want to do, I am going to say I'm going to grab the apple. Actually, let's come down here since we have this. We're going to say mRGB color fill object. That way it's filled. Control-Shift-D, and we're going to say apple. I'm going to call it apple meat. Clay buildup. Oh, inverse, please. So since this is the meat, I want this to be, you know, kind of like just off-white, but I want it to be kind of like this pale, desaturated yellowish. So color, mRGB, fill object. Okay, with the apple peel, I'm just going to add a thickness via dynamic subdivisions. Take the offset to positive direction. In fact, maybe we have to take the offset to a negative direction, and then we just got to bring this apple in. what? Maybe what I'll do, instead of going through and feeling like I have to there we go. I don't know, do something like this. Now I'm starting to be hungry. Looking at this apple. Really kind of make it feel like his teeth kind of went into that thing. Okay, I'm gonna say Dynamesh. Is that enough? It's not enough. Let's take it to 256. That's better. Going. Or what I could do, and this could work really nicely, is instead of having this be the apple meat, I could take the apple peel, Control Shift D, go geometry, turn off thickness, and since that's on the outside, I'm going to want to go deformation, inflate in the negative direction, something like that. We'll go geometry, modify topology, close holes, color fill object, so I'm going to go ahead and say let's invert this, Control A, and then with this what we can do is we can say Control D, maybe not like that. Let's do it like this instead. We'll select that, Control D, just so that this way I can get resolution in here to be able to sculpt. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to add one more resolution level there. Okay, let's go ahead and do this. Select that, invert, turn off the transparency. Now we can smooth that, and now we can act in full confidence, knowing that stuff can happen. Okay. So there we go, kind of taking a bite out of that piece of fruit. There we go. Use the just use a combination of different brushes, whatever works. edge just a little bit. And I think that's working much nicer. With the apple peel, I'm going to say apply the dynamic to it. And then we'll just go ahead and take the thickness all the way down. Okay. In fact, maybe what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll say, we'll grab this and we'll say inflate just a little bit. Okay. And then we can hit dynamic, make it just like a couple knots a little smoother there. We're gonna have to go through and give it textures and stuff like that at some point, but I think for now. And then I also still have to go through, so things that I have left to do. I have to work out some folds and the way that the cloth is supposed to work around places like right here where there's the compression folds around his waist and his hips right here. And then I have to work out, I have to kind of work with this a little bit. Kind of push this out just a slight bit. Okay. There we go. Okay, so now that part of it is looking good. We're gonna have to get textures for the apple. Well, we're gonna have to get UVs for the apple too. Need to do textures for the gloves. Need to do textures for the belt buckle. Need to do textures for everything. Everything. You know what? I kind of want to go through and play with that shape a little bit, the shape of the bite. Because the thing that's happening for me is that it's creating this opportunity for like some interest in the shape design, but it's like I'm not taking the opportunity. So I'm going to take the opportunity. Get a little bit of that. And kind of fix the way that this is flowing around that around those shapes here. A little bit more shape to it, you know? It makes it more appealing, more interesting. now it's time for some petit déjeuner. Oh, not petit déjeuner. I guess it'd be more just déjeuner. Alright, something like that. That looks good. That looks good. We'll call it. Alright. Yeah, we're gonna call it. Okay, so I'm going to see. Let's go ahead and save that where it is. I'm going to have to go through and kind of think about my my story a little bit to kind of figure out, you know, what is it or who is it he's tracking, and see if I can figure out, you know, how I can make that come across in the footprints. But yeah, I'm really liking how this is coming out, and it's just exciting. Turn on his sunglasses just so that he looks cool. Okay, I'm going to make sure that this has transparency turned on. Cool. And we'll hit render just for the sake of seeing what that looks like. Oh, it's not very... It is not the way that I was expecting it to go. Let's see if I can get... Let's get BPR visibility down. Let's change the material to... either jelly bean or reflected map. Let's do reflected map. Let's go color, fill object. Let's try this. There we go. There we go. I could go ahead and change the light just a little bit. Let's see if we can go ahead. We can say, you know, render, BPR shadows, change the rays up to something like 65. We'll change the angle up to 80, resolution down to 500. Okay. And then now, really like that angle. It's really fun. Okay, let's go ahead and test that out, see how it goes. Reggaetonero, yeah. He's on tour with Daddy Yankee. Yeah. That's starting to come on. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and save this. I'm going to say pose 01A. Yeah, the render is like really kind of a simple way to get, yeah, a little bit of a view of what you might want to expect or whatnot, but like really, it's kind of a yeah, it's all right. It's all right. It's one of those tricks that I learned from Vicente. Oh, I forget his last name. In fact, Vicente might be his last name. Can't remember, but he's an artist at Blizzard. Um, he's the one that made the orb crack brushes. Yeah, super cool stuff. Say pose 1B. And then we can go ahead and open up Photoshop, and then we can kind of composite the two together and see what it looks like together. Looking so much better. Michael Vicente, thank you. Yes, that's the guy right there. He has a tutorial that I went through and purchased to learn how to do his type of rendering, and he goes through a few different steps and then composites them inside of Photoshop. But just for right now, it's kind of all I had the interest to do. Oh, it worked. It totally worked. It's going super slow though. I think there's something like some sort of conflict between the streaming software and Photoshop, where it's like they don't like to do both. No, it's not on Gumroad. Well, it might be on Gumroad. I'll look it up for you in just a second. It's because it's super helpful to me. Okay. Let's say file, place embedded. Although I think that my shadow might be just a little bit too dark right now. Grab this. Let's make it contiguous. Control-Shift-I. And, you know, why not? We'll go through, we'll modify, we'll expand it out, you know, 5 pixels. Because why not? Okay. Actually, let's do this. We'll say merge layers. Just kind of move these over a little bit so it's more centered. Flatten. And then we'll say save. It's a little bit dark though, don't you think? A little bit dark. Let's see. Let us see. Render. I'm going to say with the shadow. Just kind of lower those just a little bit. Might lighten it up a little bit. Let's see how it goes. I didn't lighten it up nearly enough. Here, let's do this. We'll take the light more over this direction. That way it's lighting up the areas that we're trying to actually look at. Here, let's look up while we're waiting for this. Okay, ArtStation. Michael Vicente. Okay, so it is, I think it's this one. No, not that one. There we go, rendering in ZBrush. So yeah, let me send you guys this link because this is awesome. Oh, sorry. Oh. Yeah, I definitely need something on the arms. The arms are quite bare. But yeah, so he goes through and he does a couple of different lighting passes and composites them together. That'll work. Now that we've got that, now we can go File, Place Embedded, and do this again. Invert, select, modify, expand, 5 pixels, great. And then I'm just going to take it over and just place it over top of the other one. Flatten image, Control Save. Now we're good. Now I can update the now I can update the man, there's some form things I need to work on, getting these arms to be right. This isn't great. This isn't great. But we'll work on it. We'll get it there. Yeah, those arms need some help. Yeah, no, I actually wanted the hair to be really kind of sandy light like that. I did try it a little bit darker, and it just, yeah, let me go through and I'll show you. Let's go ahead and paint this in. Okay. Oh, that's why. I was like, why am I not getting the color there? It doesn't look bad. It's just that I feel like it draws too much attention, but I don't know. That might be a good thing. I mean, one of the things that I had thought about doing was like taking, taking the hair and giving it like some other color. Purple's kind of cool. Thought about going green. And then I also thought about going like this and giving him something like something like this, giving him like these blue hair tips sort of thing going on there. But yeah, it was just a little bit too much. It's a little bit too extreme. Something like this could be interesting though if I were to have like let's take the saturation back down, give it a little bit of like a purplish hue. I think that could be neat. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Oh shoot, Photoshop, PSD, there we go. ideas, or we'll say idea studies. Something like that. So I don't know. Yeah, little things like that, just kind of interesting. Yeah, there's the original, there's the darker, there's the green, there's the purple, and there's like a lighter tip. And it's like, I don't know, the lighter tip isn't really working for me at all. Yeah, the eyebrows are blending a little bit, but I wanted to keep kind of like a really muted color palette. It seems like it works a little bit better with my Arnold render. Let me pull it up. Let me see. Yeah, you see, like it stands out quite a bit more. But it's like that muted, sort of homogeneous, like dusty reds, sort of color palette is kind of what I was trying to go for. Ended up branching out a little bit more into like dusty greens, but it's it's kind of interesting. The glasses definitely pull a lot of attention, which is, yeah, it could be all right. The apple I'm going to need to kind of mute out a little bit. Kind of desaturate that, maybe even darken it a little bit. We'll have to see. Let's not darken the meat of it. Okay, let's kind of play with this a little bit just to see where we take it. What am I looking for? There we go. Because like if it's saturated, then it feels like it's pulling attention away. I don't want to really pull attention away. Maybe it's just a matter of changing it to a warmer color and darkening it. I can still give it saturation. I think the saturation of it is not really like a huge factor. It's just the color in general. So let's go ahead. Let's add some more, so we can make sure that both sides are equally treated. Okay. Something like that. I think that looks pretty cool. More like a Bartlett pear. Yeah. So yeah, anyway. I think that's where I'm going to leave it for right now. And I think I do kind of like having a little bit of that purple sort of tone there. So maybe I'll swing that color a little bit more that direction. I think that gets a cool look. Of course, it might look different in Arnold, so I'll have to go through and check that out. But I do like that. I do like that a lot. So I'll play with that. Get my JPEG. All right, I'm gonna call it. We are done for the day. Whew, that was a long time streaming. But thank you guys for coming and having fun, and especially big thanks to you, Ryu, for your awesome, helping me get that. For helping me figure that the pose thing out. I mean, that was a huge relief to me. So yeah, anyway, hope you guys are well. Hope you guys